It's great, and that we need to, with the library, the grants would be one good way to go. But also with the library, it should be more of a place for maybe kids after school. With our schools here in Lake Worth, we don't have the greatest schools, we can admit that. We only have one A school, which is Lake Worth. And so whatever we do with the library, it should be something that bolsters our school system, that makes us, that makes Lake Worth more attractive to families, to people with children. And so as far as the library goes, I believe that's what we should do.
Excuse me, the big R. Rebuttal, Commissioner Zerg.
Well, we're not West Palm Beach, nor do we want to be West Palm Beach. Their library is tremendous, for sure. We have our own library here that's been around a long time, and I think as people have rallied around other resources in our city, like our cottages and other things, like this Playhouse. This Playhouse was in rough shape after the hurricane, and people came to its aid. We all need to come together, right, and say this is our library in Lake Worth. Or it's not West Palm. We can do what we need to do in our own city with our own people. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go on to one of the dreaded yes or no questions. We're going to oh, another R. Do me the favor next time. Put all the R's up at the time. This time, because I didn't say that before. We'll let it go once, okay? But go ahead, Mr. Meyer.
Just to clarify, the idea isn't that we aren't doing good enough. We can look to our neighbors to see the things that they're doing right and the things that they're doing wrong. And I think the West Palm Beach Library is something that they are doing right. Why can't we just copy that? We think it's a great idea.
Just please understand from now on, if you don't have the rebuttal stick up, there'll be no sir rebuttal, okay? Okay, we're going to start this next question. It's a yes or no question. Commissioner Chris McVoy, Mr. Meyer, Commissioner Zerdy, and then followed up at the end by Serge Jerome. Yes or no? Should the invocation before city commission meetings be eliminated?
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
All right, thank you. All right. We are going to commence this question with Mr. Meyer and with Commissioner Chris McVoy, Sir Jerome, and then followed up by John Zerdy on this one. 1 minute question. Do you fully support the existence, do you fully support the existence and efforts of neighborhood associations in Lake Worth? How specifically are you involved with your own neighborhood association? Yes, sir. 1 minute. It's a 1 minute question. Do you fully support the existence and efforts of neighborhood associations in Lake Worth? How specifically are you involved with your own neighborhood association?
I support the idea of neighborhoods coming together to solve issues within their own neighborhoods that are specific to those neighborhoods that perhaps the citywide government is not specifically addressing. I do see a problem in the neighborhood associations where many of them have turned political, which is divisive, and which makes the opportunity for people who have a different political point of view to not feel comfortable joining the organizations. I would like to see the neighborhood associations become more politically neutral. I am not currently an active member of my neighborhood association. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's a real challenge in a community as diverse as ours. We have, I believe I've seen statistics in the elementary schools of as many as 30 different languages spoken in the parental households. I think the idea of neighborhood associations is a great one. The challenge to any organization to truly reach out to all of the different folks and welcome all of the different folks in a particular neighborhood, I think that's a big challenge. I don't think it's easy to do. Neighborhood associations are welcome to take on that challenge, but I think we should be open to any number of different kind of organizations. Sometimes a particular subset of a neighborhood may feel more comfortable coming to a group that's more similar to them. We need to make ways that all different types of groups can be heard in City Hall.
Thank you.
How involved are you in your...
Excuse me. Excuse me. You're not taking any questions from the floor at this point in time?
That's your question you asked the question.
No. Did he have any time? Did he have any time left?
Yes, he did. He had 12 seconds left.
I have a challenge with the Sunset Ridge organization because they often meet Tuesday nights, not on the commission nights, but we often have workshops. So I've been to some, I have not been to all. But I know all of the members have phones with the number.
Thank you, Commissioner McVoy. That was not necessary. Mr. Jerome.
Yes, I'm happy to say that I'm now part of two neighborhood associations, Tropical Ridge and Genesis. I'm not sure if Genesis is a member of the NAPC yet, but I think that neighborhood associations are awesome. When I was here, I didn't even know about them, but there are something that could be beneficial to the community. When you have good neighborhood associations with neighbors looking out for each other, and I'm not talking about politics, but I'm just saying when neighbors looking out for each other in the neighborhood, you know, that's going to be something that's going to reduce crime. That's going to be something that's good for the neighborhood. You know, this is what we need. We need people that care about the people in this community, that care about our neighbors, that care about their neighbors, that care about our neighborhoods, and, you know, everything that goes along with that. You know, it's not just about politics all the time, but sometimes it has to be about community. And that's what we're kind of missing. So with the neighborhood associations, they've been doing that. They've been bringing back the community to Lake Worth. And I just think that we should, you know, it should be bigger. We should have more neighbors involved, because the more I go and I talk to people, they talk about issues that they're having with crime or with, you know, whatever the case may be. You know, if they were a part of a neighborhood association, it's something that they'd be able to mediate. So I think that neighborhood associations are awesome. I'm not that involved in mine yet, but that's because I just joined. Thank you.
All of you know how much I'm involved with the NAPC. I'm a liaison to the neighborhood associations. They meet the first Saturday of every month. There's 16 of them. Not all of them show up all the time, but a good many of them do. The neighborhood associations is something that got me involved in the city in the first place. I was a member right away when I told you about the problem I had across the street from my house. Who came and helped me right away? Ryan Park. I was also on the board there for a while. I got off the board because I started to run for the city commission. But they do all the volunteer work. They help us with thousands of hours that the city doesn't have to pick up the tab for. They put their time and energy. That's as much diversity as you're ever going to get. I don't care where we are, everybody comes out and help. I've been all over the different neighborhoods with cleanup, so it's probably the most important thing in terms of getting our city together are the neighborhood associations. Thank you.
All right, we have a 1-minute question. We're going to start with Mr. Jerome and go down the line from me. Please describe in detail what you are prepared to offer as a solution for the ongoing budgetary shortfall at the Lake Worth Municipal Pool.
All right. Well, with the Lake Worth Municipal Pool, that is an issue here. The whole casino is an issue with the beach and everything. So, as far I think that what we should do is that we should definitely look for some different solutions. I'm not exactly sure what the best solution for that is. It's not something that I've really looked into or, you know, really done a lot of research on as of yet. But as far as the municipal pool, something for the budgetary shortfall, I'll just leave the answer. It's something that I would look further into.
Thank you.
The pool is a big challenge for everyone and anyone on the commission. The pool, I believe, to keep it in operation costs on the order of $200,000 a year, rough numbers. And if you don't use it, it still costs on the order of $100,000 a year. So either way, you lose out with the thing there. It costs money. We've made attempts to open it up. There's arguments about whether the hours have been good, all that sort of thing. We've made some money from usage, but it does not cover the cost. It's an amenity for the community. It's not an amenity that's used by everybody. Is that fair? I don't know, but we have other amenities. Not everybody uses all parks. Certainly not everybody uses the golf course. The golf course, as long as I've been on the commission since 2010, has always lost money. And always there's somebody coming in with a new idea, this is going to be the plan, and this year we're going to make money. We seem to be okay with subsidizing the golf course. I would suggest maybe we continue subsidizing the pool.
I think the pool isn't open often enough. And I think there's a reason for that. Just as I mentioned that there was an invitation to negotiate for property at the beach, the same sort of invitation to negotiate exists on our public swimming pool. The city is perhaps looking for a private tiki bar to come in and take over the operations of the pool. Like Commissioner McVoy said, the pool is an asset to this city. It's something that we would want to have. We just need to find alternative solutions so that we're bringing in money there, and that we're bringing in money at the golf course, and bringing in money at the beach. Thank you. I was actually saying thank you to this gentleman because he was vigorously waving his sign. I think that the pool needs more focus. I think that right now there is a big business interest in the pool that has nothing to do with it being a public swimming pool. The city is not focused on the pool because they have other plans for it. I would like to see us actually approach it as a public pool, and then maybe something special will happen there.
Thank you. As far as the ITN process, my opponent doesn't know that it already does include the pool. That is part of the request for proposals, creative ones, because the former commission who actually had the project designed in their response did not include the pool. Why not? As a matter of fact, that whole casino went way over budget. They promised it would stay in $6 million. It did not. We had also, not only that, a lawsuit cost us almost $2 million to pay for it. The same folks that support this young man here were the folks that came up with the idea of putting this together. We're tired of the pool, the casino hemorrhaging money. We asked for creative solutions. You cannot have them out there, people talking to one another. It's a cone of silence. Somebody broke the cone of silence earlier this week. So in the manner of handling the business of the city, there's inexperience showing its head right now. If you have the way that the business could handle in the casino, the pool can be part of an overall project that would allow it to be open to most of our residents at a very discounted pace. That's what we're asking. How do we make the pool more of a community amenity again? Thank you.
All right, we have rebuttals from Commissioner Christopher Boy. We have rebuttal from Mr. Meyer. Yes, they spoke on the floor, so we'll start with the same order. Same order that you two went.
Commissioner Zerdy makes an excellent point. This commission paid $1.6 million of your tax money to a private developer, Greater Bay, that wanted to do private development at the beach. And their scheme was to offer to do all sorts of wonderful things, and then when we said no, they said, you cost us money, so we're suing you. And we paid that out. Let's not go down that route again.
My opponent likes to talk about the things that I'm not aware of. The fact is, none of us, or perhaps only a few of us, were actually aware of these invitations to negotiate until they were discovered, not announced, but discovered a few days ago in a private meeting. Thank you.
Could have rebutted everybody. I said I wasn't going to allow any further, okay? Thank you. And I asked this time. All right. We are just going to start with Commissioner John Zerdy on this one and come right back towards me. It's a 1-minute question. Please give specific examples of volunteer work you have performed in the city of Lake Worth in the last 2 years, the organization, and the amount of time you have given.
As being in the Bryant Park, I've done cleanups in that area. I've participated in evenings on the Avenue. I've been involved in the Street Painting Festival year after year. We also, in all the parades that we have here, we're involved in it, but we don't have to show up for them as a commissioner. But I also help in attending the festivities afterwards. So in terms of getting out into the community, I put a lot of time into not only just being a commissioner, but also I find time away from my family and my wife to go out and participate in the city as well. It's a long 1 minute. And so in terms of other things that I volunteer for, I'm also a professor, so when I go out in the city, I try to recruit students that might be able to find their way to other universities and all as well. And then as well as working at the beach, I've done beach cleanups before when they were out there at the beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, I served for 1 year in the AmeriCorps Vista program. That's a 365-day-a-year, 40-hour-a-week program where I served as a volunteer at the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County, working with county government to write policy regarding poverty and homelessness. I also served on our city's sister city board for several months. We worked very hard on a film festival. Unfortunately, the commission subsequently canceled that festival. I am also part of the Master Gardener program and have volunteered at many events right here in Lake Worth. I'm also a member of the Palm Beach County Beekeepers Association, Florida Yards and Neighborhoods, the Native Plant Society, and I did do work, some of it volunteer work, for a private surveying company that recorded the nesting data for sea turtles. Thank you very much.
I guess I would have to say that most of my volunteer hours are serving on the commission as a public servant. Beyond that, I've been quite active over the last stretch with a group of Haitian pastors who raised a concern about both low graduation rates from high school in the Haitian community and the potential for gang violence. So in that context, I've met regularly with a group of the pastors. I've also met individually with pastors who have had issue with the recent church code enforcement things. I do renewable energy demonstrations, both solar and just overall electric understanding and power understanding at Earth Day festivals, related things. I get asked to speak on Everglades restoration, my profession, fairly regularly, and do that whenever I can. And I also am an invited speaker on climate change issues, climate change / renewable energy.
Thank you. Good,
I do after school, I'm sorry, I'm yelling into this. I do a mentorship program with Salt of the Earth. I also do an after school program with the Full Circle Family Center. I work with the youth group at Salem Community Church of God. If you're looking at hours that you put into these type of things, I think I put about maybe anywhere from 20, 30 hours into these volunteer work, because this is where my heart is in the community. You know, and yeah, that's what I do.
All right. I see one rebuttal panel up. Any other rebuttal panels up? Seeing one, Commissioner Zerdy.
My opponent again, I'm going to read something from August 29th from the City of Lake Worth special meeting. Mr. Meyer was removed from the Sister City Board for not participating in a mandatory ethics training when his membership was declared vacant due to excessive absenteeism on March 19, 2012. And I would challenge you to tell everybody here whether you ever voted even once while you're on the Sister City Board. And this is what I'm talking about, transparency. So I would like to see, maybe at some time, you can ask him if he ever voted once. Thank you.
Thank you. Just, Commissioner Chris McCoy, you have 2 rebuttals left. Serge Jerome, you have 1, excuse me, 2 rebuttals left. Commissioner John Zerda, you have 1 to give, and Ryan Moore, Mr. Moore, you have 1 remaining. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm reading it right there. I had it spelled out in front of me, and I am Mr. Ryan Meyer. I apologize. Okay. We are going to start with, let's see, Commissioner Christopher McVoy. We're going to go down to Ryan Meyer and Commissioner John Zerdy, and then end up with Serge Jerome. Following question for up to 2 minutes to respond. What specifically in your professional background or education will be the most helpful to you as an elected official in crafting policy that has a positive impact on our city?
I think that's not a fair question. I bring all sorts of technical background, and I think that should not be held against anybody else. I think it's important to recognize that the most important thing that we do in our community is listen to our constituents and try to represent them as honestly and as broadly as possible. What I specifically bring is a PhD in technical fields. The 2 areas of specialty that I have are water related and electric related. Those are both pretty relevant because we own utilities in both of those. I worked for about, and continue to work in a somewhat different capacity, for 20 years on a $7 billion interagency project that involved federal, state, tribal, and municipalities. I was appointed to a technical advisory committee to help with that prior to some of my current involvements. I've managed contracts. So, and I've lived in a lot of different parts of the world. So I have both a very grounded connection to Lake Worth, 20 years here, but also a perspective that spans cultures, spans different countries, and a professional background. I do not feel that it is fair to hold that against other people. They can also represent and serve the city regardless of not necessarily having that.
Thank you.
The thing that makes me the best choice for Commissioner of District 4, that is not only for my background, but also my foreground, is my connection to this city. I'm a small business owner here. I understand the struggles of small business owners. I understand the problems with the permitting department and the business license department. I'm also a rental property owner here in the city. I have, again, gone through the permitting department, the business department. Sometimes those things can be very difficult. The attitude there is sometimes very unfriendly, and I definitely think that's something that needs to change and something that I would like to work on. I'm an artist here in the community as well. I'm a modern dancer. I performed recently at the Stone's Ed Theater next door. I have filled a number of different roles in this city, public service as well as employment, and I think that I understand the concerns of many of you. I also recognize that being commissioner is not a position of superiority, it's a position of service. I am an open, approachable, kind person. I hope that you see that in me, and if you don't, I hope that you will approach me and experience that. That's exactly what this commission needs, because right now they aren't listening to public input and they aren't respecting public input. And the public owns this city. You, the public, have the ultimate control here. We voted on a charter in 2013. It was regarding height limits in the city. The city approved limiting heights to 45 feet in the downtown, and subsequently your commission threw out that vote. They nullified a public vote, your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's a fair question. Don't you want somebody up here that has an experience and background and expertise that can do the most with their background for your city? I've spent a lot of time above and beyond, and I don't look at those as volunteer hours. Maybe it equates to all the time we put in, we're not making that much money per hour, but that doesn't really matter. Do you think that I'm on the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council because I am an architect and a planner? I help a lot. That our city has not had a good reputation over the years. Yet they ask us now to participate and become part of that. I also said I helped write the zoning codes and over again. It's primarily why people look at the city and say, yes, we'll come here and invest now. Not like it was before. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was certainly a disincentive to come here and help lower your tax rates because we don't have investment in the city. It's a shame. But we did something. My first degree was in art. I was a sculptor. I didn't starve too much, so I was, I was like, well, let me try architecture. So I went into that. Now, I just didn't show up lately and say, well, I'm not even on a board. I was here for 10 years before and I got involved right away. Not even before I got on and said I wanted to run for commission, but also because I believed in my neighborhood and I said, I don't want this to happen anymore. I want compatibility across the city. That whole incident with the referendum was HB 537 was passed into law in 2013, June 5th. March 2013 was a referendum. The statutes came and our city attorney warned us that this is going to be retroactive to June 1st, 2011. He said, save your money. Don't get into a lawsuit. Save your money because this is going to come down the pipe. If you don't know those things, you should find those out and react to that. But my background is very helpful to the city so we don't start wasting our money in frivolous lawsuits that we already had to pay your tax dollars for. Thank you.
Thank you.
I bring a background in finance first. I have a finance degree, and after I graduated from that, I went to work for Hoffman in West Palm Beach. I worked for foreclosures. I was a loan resolution consultant. I used to work on, so I dealt a lot with foreclosure homes, and I would be able to help deal with these homes and some of the issues that we have with the banks as far as foreclosures go. I also have a law degree, and so that's also going to be helpful in dealing with writing ordinances and making sure that everything that we do write is compliant. After law school, I did work with the Lewis firm, and we worked in HOA law, which is very similar to municipal law. We also worked with Orlando, with the city of Orlando.